to be able to welcome you here in Tatra. So on behalf of GLOBSEC, on behalf of Chairman Bratislava Káčer and all our partners, we are doing this already for the 8th year, Tatra Summit, and this is the 3rd edition here in High Tatras. So we meet here at this place for the 3rd time, and when you look outside, we see the beautiful mountains, and it is very easy to forget about the challenges that Europe is facing when you see such a beautiful environment. And indeed, because Europe is about bridges, connecting countries, societies, about peace and about making borders disappear. I do not know from where you came. Some of you came from Vienna, some of you came from Warsaw, from Budapest, and you did not cross any physical borders. If you came even from Brussels or Portugal, you did not have to even change your money. So it clearly shows what is there to lose if one day EU would cease to exist for Europe and for Slovakia. But Europe, as everything in life, is difficult to build, but it is very easy to destroy, because Europe cannot be taken for granted. And there were generations of people who have been building this Europe for us. And now it is our responsibility of our generation and our leaders not only to keep Europe, but to prepare it for a world that is fast changing and that is in disruption, to make it more competitive, agile, and fit for the future. And this year we are meeting here in a very dynamic and turbulent times for Europe, when the new European Commission is taking over the steering wheel and the clocks are ticking only few last days to Brexit. Some people say that EU develops quickest in times of crisis. So theoretically, it would be the best time to press forward, as wherever you look, you see the crisis. Shadow of trade wars is looming. Signs of economic slowdown are increasing. Britain made a decision to leave, but they still struggle to figure out how. European neighborhood is literally on fire. The suffering of people in Syria seems to be endless. US and Europe are drifting away in many key areas, be it climate, trade, or institutions. But in the meantime, China is building up their positions worldwide. Technological revolution has become exponential. So it has speeded up time and shortened the time for our reactions. And our institutions are often very late in responding. So we are just reacting to the pace of the events. So are our institutions ready and fit for the 4th industrial revolution, the world of automation, AI, big data, growing China, and transactional America? What is Europe's response? How can we go stronger and as winner from this disruption? To make a long story short, the new political cycle of the European Union brings to the threshold of the a new European reality. And people are watching that we have to make it right. And we know that there will be no business as usual. EU has to change. We as Europeans need to reform the EU economy. We need to think strategically, because nobody will do it instead of us. Because if we don't shape the agenda, then others will, and we'll have to just react. But with such a high-level participation as I see here in this room, I'm very optimistic, because as the saying goes, if the right people meet at the right place, they could move mountains. So maybe we could leave these mountains here for now, and we can start with the European economy. And we have a lot of good people here in this room to talk about in the next 2 days. So I hope we will have good debates in the upcoming 2 days, but let me first of all thank to our partners. First of all, the Ministry of Finance of the Slovak Republic under the leadership of Ladislav Kamenický for his support. Thank you. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and under the leadership of Miroslav Lajčák. Thank you for the ministry. And many other partners like the European Investment Bank with VAZIL, HUDÁK, Philip Morris, MasterCard, Czechoslovak Group, ABB, British American Tobacco, Erste, EPH, EUStream, Slovnaft, MSM, and many other partners who have supported this event this year. Without your generous support, it would be impossible to organize such an event. So ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome to the stage two gentlemen who are also co-founders of this wonderful meeting, VAZIL HUDÁK, and after him, Mr. Ivan KORČOK. So VAZIL, floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. I'm actually happy with the mountains as they are. I don't know whether anybody wants to move them, but I think if we can use this extraordinary event, the Tatra Summit, to move some of the ideas, some of the thinking in Europe and in Central Eastern Europe, I think this will be already quite a nice achievement. And as already Robert mentioned, I'm really proud to be one of the co-founders of this event, of the Tatra Summit. I think being a parent, father of 4 sons, you know how it feels good when you see that your baby is growing and being successful. And that's, I think, how many of us feel about Tatra Summit as well. We are really meeting, and Robert made a very good presentation. We are meeting in the very turbulent time for Europe, globally. Brexit, trade wars, cooling economy. I know that some of the ministers of finance have to deal with some of this cooling in their budgets. But this is, at the time, the challenges we are facing. We have the new European Commission soon, European Parliament. All these are new things which also create an opportunity for Central Eastern Europe to participate in designing of the new strategy for Europe. And I think we are in one of the crossroads how this strategy will look like. And when we were designing also Tatra Summit, we thought that this could be a place where Central Eastern Europe comes together, where public sector, private sector, academia can discuss how this region can play an active and positive, constructive role in designing Europe, but also global scene. Now, I'm here also as representative of the European Investment Bank. We are a partner for Tatra Summit. For us, there are at least 3 issues which are interconnected and which are very important, and they are also very much influencing our thinking. I call them COCLICO. You will not find it when you Google what it means, but basically it's a combination of cohesion, climate, and competitiveness. Cohesion, because European cohesion is critical. We will be only as strong as the weakest part of Europe is. Cohesion is one of the elements of DNA of European Investment Bank. In 1958, when it was created very much to support weaker regions of European Union. We still finance around 30%, so close to 20 billion euro per year on cohesion regions and cohesion countries. So it is important for Europe, for all of us. It is something that we have to support in the future as well. Climate change, things which are very important, which are now the important topic for not only Europe but globally. We are a very active player in moving towards low carbon and climate resilient future. We have some very ambitious goals in terms of how to move from the fossil-based energy industry to non-fossil. And by the way, we had very interesting discussion this morning with the ministers of finance, state secretaries from 9 countries of Central Eastern Europe, and representatives of key industries, key industrial players, utilities. Some of them you will see and you met already in the region. Because I think it's very important that as we move towards cleaner, nicer future, we also make sure that this is done in line with with what is possible, and make sure that this doesn't have a negative impact on the competitiveness and economy and social structure of this part of Europe. And last but not least, of course, competitiveness. If Europe is not going to be competitive, then we will not be able to support our social system. We will not be able to support and to finance transition towards clean, modern economy. So this is very crucial, and unfortunately we are falling behind. When we look at Europe in comparison to United States, China, unfortunately, we are behind. If you look at 50 most technologically advanced, innovative companies in the world, only 3 are from Europe. So this is a real issue for all of us, and we have to address it. And based on our calculations at the EIB, we would have to spend over 140 billion euro per year to have 3% of GDP allocated for innovation. So all these are issues which are real, that we are dealing with them not only in Luxembourg, but they are real for all of us, and certainly for Central Eastern Europe and for us who have gathered here for the Tatra Summit. So I believe that we will have good discussions, good atmosphere, also informal. That's why we decided not to put any ties. And I'm really looking forward to today and tomorrow here. With this, I would like to introduce Ivan KORČOK, who is now the ambassador of Slovakia in the United States. So he has this perspective from the other side of ocean, and also co-founder of the Tatra Summit. Ivan, please.
Distinguished guests, dear friends, warm welcome from my side. Also to all of you who have been here before, but especially to those who are joining us for the first time. I thank you for coming, and I hope you will enjoy coming 2 or 3 days that we want to spend with important discussions. As it was said several times, I am currently serving as Slovak ambassador to the United States, but I was the privileged one who, with other friends, was there when we co-founded this event, and I want to thank GLOBSEC for continuing this tradition and the fact that we can every year meet here and discuss European politics. Now, of course, it would be a little bit strange. I don't think you would expect from me that I would now, being in the US, talk a lot about European Union. You will have plenty of time for that, but I'd like to take 1 or 2 minutes of your time and attention and draw it to the issue that you actually will not be discussing. It was mentioned in Robert's introduction. But I dare say that this is an issue and process that will heavily impact global scene, that will heavily impact economies and relations in the world. And that's the state of transatlantic relations. I would not surprise anybody that this is something that bothers me most, living in Washington and traveling across the country, the United States. And I can tell you a few sentences share my feeling with you. A year ago, when I started my mission there in Washington, I used to meet and encounter one group of people who used to say that we shouldn't be worried that much because what we see between the 2 sides of Atlantic is nothing, just rebalancing, or they call it disruption. Today, when you don't know what to say, you use the word disruption. So this more optimistic school of transatlantic is using this, saying that the times of romantic relationship from the 90s in transatlantic relations is over. We need to disrupt it and replace it by something new. So I more or less accept it, because indeed, like with disruptive technologies, they are pushing aside something that does not work anymore. It's not up to date, it's not effective and can work better, and it is replacing it by something new, something better. Now, after 1 year that I've spent in the United States, I'm moving the group of those who are saying that we are seeing a disruptive process. Unfortunately, this process resembles much more, in my view, a destruction. Destruction, because when you look at what decisions are being made every day, the fact that instead of engaging in a discussion with the rest of the world how we will set the trade rules and the others will follow those rules, we are engaged in trade wars. Tariffs are being imposed a year ago on steel and tariff. The other day, fines was imposed on subsidies that we Europeans were placing in production of Airbus. We will retaliate. So we are now in a vicious circle of negative actions, And if somebody wants to convince me that this is just a process of renewal, I start to be very skeptical, because I don't see at this moment anything coming that would replace what needs to be replaced. And I'm mentioning this not in order to repeat the old mantra to which nobody in Washington listens anymore, the old mantra of the need to stay together because otherwise we are weak. Nobody even notices when you are using these words in Washington these days. I'm mentioning this because there are many representatives of business, of European business, Central European business. And in fact, in trying to mobilize all those who believe in the need to stay together, the two sides of the Atlantic, you, representatives of business and trade, have a role to play. I believe it's you who should make clear, or maybe partly establish, sort of rationality vis-à-vis political decisions, because these political decisions right now within the transatlantic context are causing huge political, but not only political, but economic damage as well. If I would compare it to my previous times when I was dealing with European politics, we would need a disciplinizing power of markets, as we have seen during the financial crisis. At the end, politicians were pushed with their backs to the walls by the markets, and then rational decisions were taken. So that's why, to all of us who are working in diplomacy, for politicians who are trying to keep this together, transatlantic relations, we need a boost, and that boost should come, I think, from economic community. Every day, as we speak, $3 billion is being traded between the two sides of Atlantic. Millions and millions of jobs are directly depend on transatlantic relations. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not my intention at all to turn Tatra Summit into transatlantic sort of discussion. It is not my intention to add to the overall skepticism, although skepticism in my view is a virtue as well. But I want to say that a lot is in our hands. And while I'm serving my country, proudly serving my country in the United States, I'm convinced European. In the year number 1 is making me a militant pro-European. I can tell you, and I see in it, in the fact that we are at the beginning of this cycle, a big chance that a lot can be really decided on our side of the Atlantic. We should have courage and determination, because part of the response to this drifting apart in the transatlantic area is stronger Europe. I don't see any other alternative but to make Europe stronger. Only then our American friends will take us as a partner. So with these words, ladies and gentlemen, and I apologize if I took you a little bit out from this purely European context, but let us remember, we are living in bubbles. We are living here in the Slovak bubble, you in your respective countries, but we are living in our European bubble as well. And in that bubble, or out of that bubble, we should see, global processes that are underway. Once again, warm welcome to all of you. I'm really thrilled and excited, and I'm looking forward to engaging in a fruitful discussion with you. Welcome to High Tatras.